Hey guys, Larry here, and for today's video, I'm going to talk about one nerf I would give every single character in Smash Ultimate. Most of the nerfs I'll be suggesting are going to be focused on making a particular move not as strong as it currently is in one way or another. But for some characters, I might suggest removing a mechanic they have. Before you watch the video, leave a comment guessing what you think I'm going to nerf on some characters and which you think I'm going to nerf the most and least. Also, don't forget to like the video for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you want to see more Smash content. One more thing, I did a one buff for every character video and I ended up forgetting to put hero in it. So I'm going to show what his buff was first, and then I'll be talking about all the nerfs. For hero, I would make it so that his mana cost would be 75% of what his original mana cost currently, excluding Magic Burst. Alright, now let's get started. For Mario, the nerf I would give him is to give his up air a few more frames of end lag and landing lag, making it more difficult for him to do the combos he currently does. It would also make his shield pressure a little bit worse. For Donkey Kong, I also decided to nerf his up air. This one would be removing the intangibility frames on his up air, making it harder for him to juggle the opponent and also just cleanly beat out attacks. My nerf for Link would be to make his neutral air hitbox slightly smaller. If you didn't know, characters that have that neutral air kick animation, Link's is the most disjointed, so I think he would be okay if it's slightly smaller. My nerf to Samus would be to make her bomb have a decent amount more end lag and also make the hitbox on the bomb smaller. My main focus on this nerf is to make her ledge trapping worse because I think she easily has one of the best ledge trapping setups and it's pretty overpowered. For Yoshi, I would make his double jump armor about 15 to 20% weaker. This would mean it would be harder for Yoshi to get out of combos by double jumping, especially at higher percents. The nerf I would give Kirby is making it harder for him to low profile things using his crouch. For Fox, there was quite a few things I could have nerfed, but the one I decided to do was his dash attack. The nerf I'm going to give his dash attack is make it so that it has more end lag, making it harder for him to combo out of it and also easier for it to get punished. For Pichu, there was also quite a few things I could have decided to nerf, but the one I picked was his back air. For back air, I would give it more startup so that it's harder for him to combo into it, and I would also remove the pancaking hitbox when he lands so that it's actually possible for a lot of characters to punish him out of shield. For Luigi, there was two things I was debating on nerfing. It was his down throw and Cyclone. The one I decided to pick was the Cyclone because I think him having a frame 1 escape option is pretty ridiculous. So my nerf would just be to remove the invincibility on the move, making it harder for him to escape combos and also easier for him to get juggled. For Ness, I'm going to nerf his PK Fire. I would make it so that it's significantly easier to smash the eye out of PK Fire when you get hit, and also make the aerial version have more end lag when you land with it. This would make it harder for him to combo and pressure the opponent, and also make PK Fire far less spammable. Alright, so this is probably going to be very surprising, but I really hate Falcon's up smash, and this is the only move in the video where I just personally want it nerfed for selfish reasons. But yeah, for Falcon, I would nerf his up smash, I would remove the intangibility on the legs, and also make it have significantly more end lag. For Jigglypuff, I would nerf her pound, making it do less shield damage, meaning it would be harder to break shields with it. Peach and Daisy do a lot of damage, and a lot of it comes from their turnips, so my nerf to them would be to reduce the damage of turnips by half. For Bowser, I would remove his tough guy so he can't just armor through certain attacks. For Ice Climbers, my nerf would be that if you successfully grab a character, the AI cannot move until you finish the throw. This would get rid of the desync throw combos that Ice Climbers have. For Sheik, I would make it so that her forwarder has slightly more landing lag, making it more unsafe on shield. For Zelda, I would nerf her Knight. I would make it so that the fully charged Knight and the one just before it's fully charged travel half the distance they normally do. Some of you may not even know this, but the grounded version of Dr. Mario's Cyclone has armor on it. So my nerf would be to remove the armor he has on that move. Pichu's been nerfed enough, but for the sake of the video, the nerf I would give Pichu is to remove the spike hitbox on his down air. It pains me to do this, but the nerf I would give Falco is to give him a few more frames of end lag on his up tilt, making it a bit more harder for him to combo out of it. For Marth, I would give him a few more frames of startup on his Dolphin Slash. For Lucina, I would have her back air deal less knockback, making it a worse kill move. I'm sure for a lot of people, if they can nerf one thing about Young Link, they would nerf his fire arrow, but me personally, I went with his boomerang. I think that move is more ridiculous since it could be as safe as -4 on shield from point blank range, meaning most characters can't punish it. My nerf for Young Link would be to give that move far more in lag, making it much more punishable. I mean, it's Ganon, so I don't really want to nerf him, but if I were to choose one thing, I would nerf his neutral. I would make it so that the second kick has a smaller hitbox. For Mewtwo, I would slightly increase the in-lag of his down tilt by a few frames. For Roy, I would nerf his side special, making it so that it kills about 20% later. For Chrom, I would nerf his up special. I would make it so that it can't pull characters off stage and spike them to their death. Game & Watch was probably the easiest character to figure out what to nerf. What I would nerf is his up special. I would make it so that it comes out on frame 7 instead of frame 3. For Meta Knight, I didn't go with anything too crazy. I nerfed his forward smash so that it would have a few more frames of end lag. Alright, so this is probably going to be the smallest nerf I do, and it's going to sound funny, but let me explain. So, Pit's forward smash and forward tilt both come out on frame 10, his up smash and up tilt both come out on frame 6, his down tilt comes out on frame 6, and for some reason his down smash comes out on frame 5, so my nerf would be to make it so that Pit's down smash comes out on frame 6, so it'll be the same frame as his down tilt. My nerf to Zero Suit Samus would be to remove the intangibility she has on her flip jump. This would make it harder for her to escape combos and get out of disadvantage in general. For Wario, I would nerf his up air, making it have slightly more in lag. This would make it less safe on shield and make it harder for him to combo out of it in general, including into waft. This might be the biggest nerf, but the nerf I would give Snake is make it so his grenade comes out on frame 4 to match his air dodge, instead of him having a frame 1 option. This would make his disadvantage a lot worse and make it a lot harder for him to trade with grenade against opponents. The nerf I would give Ike is make it so his eruption hitbox is slightly smaller, making it so that it doesn't easily hit below ledge. For Squirtle, I would reduce the knockback on his forward smash, making him have less kill power. For Ivysaur, I would also nerf her kill power, making her Vine Whip weaker. And for the final Pokemon and Pokemon Trainer Charizard, I would nerf the startup of his up smash. If you didn't know, Charizard is tied for having the second fastest up smash in the entire game, so I would just make it slower. The nerf I would give Diddy Kong is make it so that if he uses his monkey flip, he doesn't get it back until he lands if he's hit out of it, similarly to Zero Suit Samus and Little Mac. For Lucas, I would make it so that his Zair has more in lag so that he cannot combo it into itself. This one was a no-brainer for me. The nerf I would give Sonic is to remove the intangibility frames on his spin dash. This would make it harder for him to run away and camp, and just make it so that being in the corner is a lot more dangerous for him in general. The nerf I would give DDD is to remove the armor he has on his Jet Hammer. Like DDD, the nerf I'm giving Olimar is also removing the armor he has on his down special, which is his whistle. This would make it harder for Olimar to get at a disadvantage and also impossible for him to punish things using his whistle. Lucario's neutral air is by far his safest aerial on shield and actually one of the safest aerials in the entire game. So my nerf would be to increase the landing lag, making it not as safe on shield by a few frames. I think we can all agree that Rob's side special combo combined with his neutral air and gyro is one of the craziest zero death combos in the entire game. So the nerf I would give Rob is make it so that when he does side special off stage, he goes into free fall. For some reason, Toon Link's forward tilt starts behind him, so my nerf would be to remove the back hit of his forward tilt so it starts in front of him or above him. This decision was done solely because I just think it would be funny. For Wolf, I would nerf his down smash a third time, making it even weaker than it is currently. My nerf to Villager would be to reduce the shield damage Tree and Axe does, removing his shield break setup, or at least making it harder to do. The nerf I would give Mega Man is to increase the landing lag on his down air since it's one of the few aerials that can be positive on shield. This is one of the few nerfs that was a no-brainer for me. The nerf I would give Wii Fit Trainer is make it so that when she does side special, she cannot re-grab the ledge. This would make it much harder for her to plank and just abuse her ledge tactics. In my opinion, Rosalina's star bits hits deceptively far, so my nerf would be to reduce the range by a fifth. Little Mac is really bad, but KO Punch is very toxic, so my nerf would be to make KO Punch blockable. I think Greninja has the most absurd pivot grab range, so my nerf would simply be to make it slightly smaller. Just like what I did in the buff video, I'm not going to nerf any of the Mii's special moves because they're interchangeable. So let's get started with Brawler. For Brawler, I'm going to nerf his up tilt and make it so that it hits mainly above him since the front hit is kind of absurd. For Mii Sword Fighter, I'll reduce the damage on his up air since it does a ton of damage. And for Mii Gunner, I will increase the landing lag on forward air since it's one of the safest aerials on shield currently. For Palutena, my nerf would be to remove the invincibility from her back air, making it harder for her to just outright beat attacks. The nerf I would give Pac-Man is make it so that you can go through Hydrant. This would make it harder for him to just run away and camp and hide behind it. For Robin, the nerf I would give them is make it so that Arc Fire costs 3 points instead of 2. This would make it so that Robin can only use Arc Fire 4 times before it has to recharge. The nerf I would give Shulk is make it so that he cannot use Banana Arts and Hit Stun. This would mean he would no longer be able to easily get out of combos with Shield Art or Smash Art. The nerf I would do to Bowser Jr. is to reduce the knockback on his jab, making it a slightly weaker kill move. The nerf to Duck Hunt is going to be similar to Snake, where I make his can the same frame as his air dodge, so he'll have a harder time escaping combos. Part of me wanted to nerf this same exact thing for both Ken and Ryu, but I decided to pick different ones. So for Ryu, I am going to nerf his heavy up tilt, removing the intangibility frames from it, and for Ken, I'll increase the startup of his light down tilt by a few frames, making it harder for him to pressure the opponent with it. Picking what to nerf on Cloud was pretty easy. I decided on his back air, which I will give a few more frames of landing lag, making it -6 instead of -3, so it'll still be really good, just not as ridiculous as it is now. The nerf I would give Corrin is make it easier to smash DI out of the sword when they're charging forward smash. The nerf I would give Bayonetta is to increase the smash DI multiplier on her afterburner kick, making it easier to escape the combos she has using that move. For Inkling, I would reduce the shield stun on their neutral special, making it so that you can jump out instead of being locked in shield. Ridley has one of the strongest forward smashes in the entire game, so my nerf would be to slightly reduce the knockback, making it not as strong. For Simon and Richter, the nerf I would give them is to increase the end lag on Holy Water. This would make it harder for them to ledge trap the opponent. The nerf I would give King K. Rool is make it so that he can only hold his neutral special vacuum for half as long as he currently can now. For Isabelle, the nerf I would give her is make it so that her fishing rod cannot grab characters that are hanging on the ledge. The nerf I would give Incineroar is that if you shield his attack when he has his revenge will disappear. The nerf I would give Piranha Plant is that if he's holding neutral special his Patui and you grab him out of it, it will not fall and hit you. For Joker, the nerf I would give him is that his gun is now considered a projectile so you can reflect it. I don't know why it's considered a disjoint to begin with, except DLC nonsense. For Hero, the nerf I would give him is to make his Psych Up do significantly less shield damage so he can't easily break shields with it. The nerf I would give Banjo is to increase the startup of his grenade by 5 frames. Terry, the thing I decided to nerf on him was his go. So instead of having unlimited Buster Wolves and Power Geysers, he would instead be limited to only using 3 per stock. The nerf I would give Byleth is make it so that their up special won't start spiking the opponent until about 60%. For those of you that don't know, Byleth's up special spikes at around 45%. For Min Min, I would remove her DLC mechanic where if she successfully grabs and throws the opponent, her arm gets powered up. For Sephiroth, the nerf I would give him is to make his counter hitbox slightly smaller. If you've never seen it, that move is gigantic. For Pyra, I would make her downer hitbox slightly smaller so it's harder for her to 2-frame and just edge guard the opponent in general. And for Mithra, I would remove her foresight and give her regular dodge frame data so that she can't easily escape combos and punish the opponent. I think it is incredibly obvious on what I'm gonna nerf for Kazuya, but you know what, just for the fun of it, comment down below with the wrong guess. Alright, so Electric Wind Godfist is what I'm gonna nerf, and the way I'm gonna nerf it is that I'm gonna make it so that if he successfully hits the opponent with it, in order for him to get a fall, he will have to double jump or use his up special. So that should get rid of his 0 to death combos and just his high damage output in general. Finally, we get to Sora, and the nerf I would give him is to remove his Nair loops. I would make it so that he could still combo out of Nair, it's just that you can't combo with Nair 1 and 2 into Nair 1 again, so you can't loop it. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Come on, you didn't think I'd forget about Steve, did you? All right, well, without further ado, last but not least, we have Steve. So what I would nerf on Steve is I would nerf his blocks. I would make it so that he can't build blocks off stage and he could only build blocks on the floor and one level above that. So it's harder for him to camp and run away, and he just can't build any houses or any of the other stuff he does with blocks. And that is really it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, reminder to drop a like on the video, comment on what you would nerf and buff, and also don't forget to subscribe for more Smash content. And one more thing, I have a Patreon. If you want to help support me and my channel more, you could do it in the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.